Welcome back, students. Now we can draw graphs of quadratic expression very easily. Now let's understand it's another utility which is used in location of roots. Here location of roots will be given. Roots themselves will not be given, but the information about the roots location will be present. So let's start. From location of roots, very good questions are framed because this is a topic which requires lot of proper analysis, drawing the graph and proper analyzing the graph as per the given information. Okay, so let's start with the location of roots. Now, whenever location of roots is given, we basically talk about four major steps to solve the question. The first step is we draw the rough figure. Now, when I talk about drawing the rough figure, as we have already seen, drawing the rough figure means that we know about A, whether A is greater than 0 or A is less than 0, where A is coefficient of x square. We know about discriminant, which can be greater than 0, equal to 0 or less than 0. So, according to these informations, we can draw the rough figure. After that, the second step is we discuss about discriminant. Now, there may be some information given. Now, this information may be like it's written that in a question that there are two real roots. Okay, so that means discriminant is automatically greater than 0, or two equal roots. So automatically discriminant becomes equal to 0, or it has this equation is always greater than 0. Okay, so that means it is always greater than 0, so discriminant would be less than 0. It will having a graph like this. So that means according to our question, we can identify that what will be our discriminant. Now the next step is we discuss about range of minus b upon 2a, which is a point where maximum and minimum value occurs. Now till this time this point would be very clear to all of you, because minus b upon 2 is the point where minimum occurs when a is greater than 0 and maximum occurs when a is less than 0. So we talk about it. Talking about it means we will be talking about its range as per the location of roots. And finally, we will be talking about fk sign, where k is in reference with the location of roots. Suppose it's given that both roots are greater than k. So I can talk about what is the sign of fk. Okay. So these things will be more clear as in we will be talking about more details, types. So let's talk about the first category, first type, which is when both roots are positive, alpha greater than 0 and beta greater than 0. So let's see how we will be drawing the figure and we will be imposing the conditions. Okay. Now whenever I have to draw the figure, I have to be a bit careful. Okay. First of all, I have to think that a is greater than 0 or a is less than 0, coefficient of x square. Now in this you can see that nothing is given. Okay, so we will be making two cases. Now don't worry that it would be very lengthy. See, it's just for our full analysis. Whenever you will be getting a question, definitely coefficient of x square will also be given in 99% cases. So don't worry. Okay, it's just, I just want to make you complete analysis, to give you full analysis. That is why we are doing everything in steps. Okay, so I will have two figures. Now in first I will be taking a greater than 0, another a less than 0. So a greater than 0 means my parabola mouth will be upwards. So when both roots are positive, suppose I am drawing alpha and beta, so my graph will be looking like this. Okay, now when a is less than 0, my parabola mouth will be downwards. So my graph will be looking like this. Okay, now both roots are positive. So because both roots automatically means that discriminant d will be greater than 0. That means it will be cutting x-axis two number of times. So you can see that in both the cases I have drawn the graphs in which it is cutting axis two number of times. Okay, now when I will be imposing conditions, see in the first case, let us talk about discriminant greater than 0. In second case also discriminant greater than 0. Let's talk about minus b upon 2a. Okay. So this is my first condition, minus b upon 2a. So in the first case it will be a value at which minimum occurs. So, because it is given that alpha is also greater than 0, beta is also greater than 0, so automatically point at which minimum occurs, that is also greater than 0. So, we can impose condition on this that minus b upon 2a is greater than 0. Okay. Here also you can see that point at which maximum occurs, that is greater than 0. And finally, we talk about fk sign. So, here you can see that reference, what is reference given? That both roots are positive. Positive means greater than 0. That means origin is the reference, 0 is the reference here. So, I will talk about f0. In first case, you can see that f0 is positive, and here you can see that f0 is negative. So, basically to combine these two conditions, I can say that d is always greater than 0, minus b upon 2 is also greater than 0, and you can see that when a is greater than 0, f0 is greater than 0. When a is less than 0, f0 is less than 0. So, I can put it like this: a into f of 0 is greater than 0. So, with these three conditions, as soon as I am going to apply these three conditions, my questions will give me the complete detail, as in when I will have both roots positive. Okay. So, next let's come to the next type. In next type, we have both roots are negative. Okay. So, both roots will mean d is greater than 0. Negative means both of them would be less than 0. Okay. So, alpha is also less than 0 and beta is less than 0. So, let's see how we will be drawing the figure and imposing the conditions. Okay. So, let me draw the figure. Again, I will draw two figures. So, in first case, I will have a greater than 0 and another case a less than 0. Now, drawing the rough figure means I will be just talking in reference with the location of roots. So, both roots are less than 0. So, say this is alpha and beta, and my graph will look like this. Okay. In next case, parabola mouth will be downwards, and I will have both roots negative. So, let me draw both roots negative in this way: alpha, beta, and like this. Okay. Now, when I am talking about the condition imposed, let's talk about the first discriminant. Discriminant d here is greater than 0. Here also discriminant d is greater than 0. Minus b upon 2a. So, as in the previous case, here you can see that minus b upon 2a would be less than 0, because both roots are negative. Automatically implies, because the point at which minimum maximum occurs will always lie between the roots. Okay, so that means it will also be less than 0. So, I have minus b upon 2a less than 0 here, and minus b upon 2a less than 0. Now, the third thing is we will be talking about fk. So, here what is fk? f0. So, f0 here is positive and here f0 is negative. Okay. So, how I am going to write the final conditions imposed. I will say discriminant d is greater than 0, and then I will be talking about minus b upon 2a, which is less than 0, and when a is greater than 0, f0 is greater than 0, when a is less than 0, f0 is less than 0. So, I can put it in one condition, as in a into f0 is greater than 0. So, as soon as we will be applying these three conditions, question will be completely solved. Okay. Let's move to the type 3. Okay, roots are of opposite sign. Okay, now let me understand this question first of all. It says that roots, so roots means discriminant d is greater than 0 always, are of opposite sign. Okay, so opposite sign means one will be greater than 0 and other root will be less than 0. Okay, so let's quickly see how we are going to draw the figure. To draw the figure, again I am taking two cases: a greater than 0, a less than 0. So, when a is greater than 0 and I have roots opposite sign, so that means one root is say alpha and other root is beta. Okay, that would be lying on this side and this side. Okay, so let me draw it. So, my graph will look like this. Okay, here a less than 0, so graph would be looking like this. Okay, so first of all, I will be discussing about discriminant d. So, discriminant d will be greater than 0 in both the cases. Now, minus b upon 2a. Now, listen, understand this point, students. Minus b upon 2a, here I am not sure. Because minus b upon 2a may be less than 0 and or it may be greater than 0 also. It can lie anywhere in between alpha and beta. Here also anywhere between alpha and beta. I am not given any information about alpha and beta. Okay. So we cannot talk about minus b upon 2a in this question. Very important point, because I cannot locate it. I cannot say that it will always be greater than 0 or less than 0. Then we will be talking about f0. So f0 in this case you can see is less than 0. How? You can see that this is f0 which is negative and here f0 is positive. Okay. So when I have to put it together, these two conditions, okay, in one set, because every time I cannot be taking two cases. So I will say that discriminant d is greater than 0. Okay. When a is greater than 0, f0 is less than 0. When a is less than 0, f0 is greater than 0. So a into f0 will always be less than 0. So these two conditions will explain me that what will be my range, okay, as per the location of roots. Okay. So let's move to the next type. Here it's given that both roots are greater than k. Now k is some value. It can be positive, it can be negative, okay. So let's see what will be figure and conditions imposed. When I will be talking about figure, now both roots automatically means discriminant d greater than 0. Now figure a can be greater than 0 or less than 0 as per the question, okay. Whatever is the coefficient of x square, that will decide a. Okay. Now in the first case, a is greater than 0, parabola mouth will be upwards, both roots are greater than k. Suppose this is my k. I could have drawn a negative side, that will not make any difference first of all, okay. So don't worry. Now because both roots are greater than k, I will be drawing it like this, alpha, beta. Okay. When a is less than 0, so I will have parabola mouth up downwards, both roots again greater than k, so my graph would look like this. Okay. Both roots, so discriminant greater than 0 here also and discriminant greater than 0 here also. Okay. Now the second case is we talk about minus b upon 2a. Can I talk about minus b upon 2a? Definitely, because alpha is also greater than k, beta is also greater than k. So I can say that minus b upon 2a will also be greater than k in each case. Okay. Okay. The next thing is we will be talking about f of k. Now let's see, in this case fk is greater than 0 and here fk is less than 0. So here fk greater than 0, fk less than 0. When I have to put all these conditions together, okay, so first condition is discriminant d greater than 0, minus b upon 2a greater than k, and what about f of k? So you can see in first case when a is greater than 0, fk is greater than 0, when a is less than 0, then fk is greater than 0, is less than 0, okay. So we can put it that a into fk is always greater than 0. To combine these two conditions, we can say when I will product them, it will be greater than 0, okay. So this is how we have discussed these four types, okay. Depending upon the location of roots, we have understood what will be the conditions. If you have any doubts in this topic, you can post your doubt for free at askIITians.com. For this, you have to log in www.askIITians.com and then you have to move to discussion board. Now, once you move to discussion board, on the right hand side, you can see Ask Experts column. Now, over here, you have to select a category. Once you select a proper category, then you can post your question over here and you can also attach an image. We here, experts at askIITians, will solve your question within 48 hours. Students, I hope now you are clear with the location of roots and the questions related with them. Just remember one point, that you have to do these questions step by step. Okay? If you are following these steps properly, you can solve the questions very easily. Now what happens if different location is given for both the roots? For this, stay in tune with me. Have a nice day. Thank you.